Hello everyone, today we're gonna go over some hands from NL100, NL200 and NL400 played on a WPN. I've chosen two players specifically for this one. I think both are playing really well. First guy has a 6 big blind per 100 win rate over 400k hands. His won at showdown is 53, 1-1 soft flop 47. And aggression frequency by streets is around 35%. Second guy has almost 7 big blinds per 100 win rate over almost 350k hands. His red line is close to 0. Won at showdown 51, 1-1 soft flop 50, and aggression frequency is closer to 40. So this guy is a little bit more aggressive than the first one. Okay, now to the hands. Our first one is from Mr. Happy 22, and he 3-bets ace-10 suited on the small blind against a button raise. Villain calls, flop is ace-10 6, and Mr. Happy bets 3/4. From my experience, people mostly bet third here and almost never bet big, and I think it is a mistake. I think we want to deny a lot of equity here, and I prefer splitting into two sizes, third pot and like 3/4. I want to bet big with hands like ace king, ace queen, hands that want to get value right now, as much value as possible right now from different top pairs that we beat, from some draws. And with ace king we also beat ace queens, and villain should have almost all of ace queen combos in his range. So I really like the fact that hero also uses the bigger sizing here. So villain calls, and we get another flush draw on the turn. Hero bets 2/3 and villain calls again. I want to mention here that on this type of turn cards, where we have a second flush draw, our main bet size is all in. I don't really like betting 2/3 here, because when we have a second flush draw on the board, villain gets a lot of extra equity. He has a lot of hands like pair plus flush draw, second pair plus flush draw specifically. Or maybe some combo draws like a flush draw plus a gut shot. And when we bet 2/3 or even 3/4 of a pot, we don't really make it tough for those hands. He can easily call and then decide what to do on the river. Second, we want to get as much value right now with our ace kings and ace queens. Before a really bad card hits the river, like one flush draw completes or another one, doesn't really matter, and we have some troubles with our top pairs. So I really prefer shoving here on the turn. I don't really think villain would often fold hands like top pair plus a flush draw. He can also call a lot with some 10x's with the flush draw, assuming that we have hands like king queen or queen jack, and we should have some bluffs, of course, in our shoving range on the turn. So yeah, this is how I see it. Anyways, villain calls, we have a total blank on the river. Hero shoves, villain calls again, and shows ace queen. Well, nothing but a cooler here. Move on to the second hand. 9-5 suited on the big blind, hero calls against a small blind, pretty standard, and we have a low board. I want to point out that on a board like this, a villain should be checking his entire range, and this is exactly what we see. And we bet third, which is totally fine, because we want to bet a lot of hands here. We want to bet for protection our 5x, 6x combos. We want to bet 4x deuce x combos. But at the same time, we want a bigger size as well. We want to bet big with our sets, for example, to build a pot, so that we can go all in by the river. But anyways, hero bets third and the villain raises. Well, this is also totally fine. He checks his entire range and he has all the sets in his range, many two-pair combos, so he can easily check raise. Hero calls, and we have a 10 on the turn, and villain bets again. Well, this choice of sizing looks a little weird to me. It looks like some sort of a mediocre value hand, and I don't expect him to bet this much with any strong hand, like a set or two pair or anything of that nature. Yeah, that actually looks like pocket 7s, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, maybe some weaker 10x combos, hands that won't be betting again on the river and that want to get to showdown and to realize their equity for cheap. Hero, I assume, notices it as well, and he raises. And I really like the size that he chose. We could have easily called his raise on the flop with all of our sets, with all of our two-pair combos, both our straights. Yeah, we have two straights from the flop here. So yeah, we can easily raise here for value. We have more than enough combos for that. So I really like this move, and villain calls. Jack on the river, hero keeps on bluffing, and villain calls. Calls and shows queen 10. Well, that's an overcall, in my estimate. And also, if we take a look at villain's stats, we can see that his when to showdown is around 31-32%, and his fold by street is around 40-43%. So yeah, he is basically a calling station. Also, we can go to this tab right here and see that his fold in position on the river is 30%, out of position 35%. So yeah, this guy really doesn't like folding. We should definitely bluff less against this guy. We want to mostly bet for value. And of course, we still want to keep some of the bluffs in. I mean, some of the obvious bluffs. Just to at least somewhat balance our betting range. Okay, now we move to another guy. Okay, this is our second hero for today's video, Smoking Frogs. And he starts with a raise with ace 5 suited. We face a 3-bet from the cutoff, and here I think we can fold right away, or we can call. We can actually, well, I think we can use all of the three options here, because this is NL 100, rake cap is quite high, so yeah, all the actions would be around break even, for this hand specifically, but hero decides to call. Okay, the board is 5-4 deuce with a flush draw. And the first thing we should think about is how often do we have nutted hands here, because this decides how often we want to put a raise in or to resist in anyways. So let's see, we were raising from around UTG in a 6 max table, so we don't really have pocket 4s or pocket deuces. The only set we can have here is pocket 5s. And some players even start raising from pocket 6s here. So yeah, all in all, we don't have a lot of nutted hands here, so we don't want to raise a lot. Villain, on the other hand, can bet quite wide here, because he has a lot of overpairs in his range. He has hands like ace-king, ace-queen, so 2 overs plus a gut shot, big number of flush draws, so yeah. He can easily bet here, he can bet quite frequently. The only thing is that his bet is too small, in my opinion. The optimal sizing would be like around 2/3 of the pot, well, at least half pot. Because he has a lot of hands that want to get value right here and right now, like pocket 10s, pocket jacks. And the only option I see for us is to call. No reason to raise here, because well, there's nothing we want to protect against. If he has 2 overcards, well, let's say ace-king, if he hit an ace on the turn, then we hit 2 pairs, and it is really good for us. So yeah, there are not so many hands in his range that we are scared to give free cards to. If we want to build a raising range, we should build it around pocket fives, our flush draws, and maybe pocket sixes, if we have those in our calling range. Standard call, villain bets again on the turn, and he bets a little more than 3/4. If we calculate the percentage of the pot that he bets here, we want to divide 22 by 25.8. We get 85%. So he bets a little more than 3/4. And yeah, from this alone, we can assume that this is mostly a value. The only question is what we want to do with our hand. And I think that we still do want to call, because we have a top pair from the flop and we still do have a gut shot. And he still can have some bluffs, maybe some flush draws, ace king with a flush draw, something along those lines. So yeah, I think we have enough to call once more. And finally, a king on the river, villain shoves, and to me this is an easy fold. But for some reasons, hero decides to call this shove. Well, I don't know why he did that, but we see ace queen, and this was some sort of a thin value shove from villain on the river. Let's take a look at villain's stats for a second. Beside the fact that he did bet a little more on the turn, a little more than 3/4, or maybe with one click on the slider, his 1-1 soft flop is 42, and aggression by street 32, 29, 34. And this tap right here also very useful. This shows how much he wins on the river relative to the size of the pot. And we can see that in pots of 50 big blinds and more, he wins 80% on showdown. So yeah, this means he really doesn't bluff a lot, and this is another argument in favor of folding. And considering the fact that he was actually value betting very thinly, this is a very, very big blunder from hero. So this is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. We always appreciate any feedback. So yeah, let us know what you think, and see you next time.